Good evening, welcome to another edition of Keene No Spin. I'm Randy Filiault.
And I'm David Richards.
And we got some special guests in the studio, which is going to allow Dave and I just to kick back and not do a hell of a lot today.
Yeah, we'll listen.
Okay? And so with our talented production crew in the studio, we're going to switch to camera 62 and go to our guests in the studio. He's already done that. And if you don't recognize this cast of characters, we have Ruth Sterling.
Hi.
And who's this guy?
I don't
know. I don't recognize him.
He makes food.
He owns some food. He owns some restaurant somewhere.
I'm some waiter dishwasher that you guys see every once in a while.
And what we found out is Luca had about 15 minutes left in his day, and Ruth found out a way to take it up. So, welcome. And I guess we're going to talk about all things pumpkins.
A lot going on.
And so,
a lot going on.
2 weeks to the Pumpkin Festival, and why don't you give us an update since the last time you were here, which was, about 6 to 8 weeks ago? I know you haven't probably been doing a heck of a lot. You're sitting around letting other people do all the work, but hey,
Someone told me the other day that I look really pale. I think it's because I haven't left the office in that 6 to 8 weeks. A lot going on. The HGTV program coming in and wanting to feature the Keene Pumpkin Festival is a really big deal. It really shook up our town and got some people hyper interested and.
Yeah, Luca looks
really
really hyper right now.
Yeah, no, trust me, I get hyper about this. You'll see.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, but the deal was, the reason they were interested is because they believed that we could reclaim our world record title. And that was not on our agenda this year. Getting the Pumpkin Festival, the Orange Festival in the black was on our agenda. 35,000 pumpkins wasn't on the agenda. So everything's changed since then, and now it's very much on the agenda. We still have to keep the festival in the black and do all the things that we were doing to build systems that would make it sustainable and work in the future. But the Property Brothers, very handsome. One of them's coming to Keene, and Luca, you tell them. I knew that the job of pulling off the Pumpkin Festival and organizing all that we needed to organize was going to take up all my life. And if we were going to get a world record, I needed somebody who was a zealot about it, absolutely crazed, refused to lose kind of guy. It didn't take long for one to surface. And introducing Luca, who's the hero of this year's world record attempt.
So the funniest thing is that she just ran into me in the street and said, "Hey, no one else wants to do this. You want to take this over?"
That is not how it went down.
Before we get into the what we're trying to accomplish and who's going to be down here, one of the things that's amazing about I moved here 12 years ago, and you guys know when I came to town, I came with this kind of, look what I'm going to do, and then I keep expanding and this and that, and I meant by my waistline, but we're doing
we know those
something.
blues.
Yeah, thanks. I'm amazed about what this town can do. All right, so Pumpkin Festival has been incredible straight throughout. I just thought it was an amazing thing. People are doing this. Out of the goodness of their heart, it's free. It's free. It's a free event. Are you kidding me? 70,000 people, and it still is. And then they go, okay, it's going away. And then someone like Ruth walks in and goes, no, it's not. I'm going to save it. And even last year with 16,000 pumpkins.
We are going to save it.
Yeah. You just didn't know who the we was at the time.
Exactly. You spearheaded it pretty well.
Good point. That's a good way to look at it.
Then it gets saved, and it's 16,000 pumpkins, and that's not as many, and everybody's talking about, I loved it like that. It was great. It was still here, and that was incredible.
It was a good learning environment last year.
You did a wonderful job. Now, HGTV steps in and says to us, we are going to create a show called Pumpkin Wars. Keene is going to compete against Highwood, Illinois, because Highwood, Illinois broke the record last year, and they did 31,000 something pumpkins. And we want the two of you to compete.
Unofficially.
Okay.
A little controversy.
They didn't dot all the I's and cross all the T's like we do.
So here we are with this competition, the largest competition show. This is not a chef versus chef and you're chopped, and this is not getting voted off an island. These are two nice-sized cities, beautiful American cities, and if you check any video in Highwood, Illinois, it's a beautiful city. It's just like Keene as far as the look, the feel.
Let's not talk about Highwood.
No. We got to give them their little props.
They called us the middle of nowhere.
But they are not.
It's a battle now.
But the thing is, they're not Keene. I mean, let's say we are in the middle of nowhere. Let's say we're the heart of everywhere instead of the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's good.
And we are the ones that pump all this energy into downtown. They siphon it off of Chicago. They're the North Shore of Chicago. We pump it into the city like nobody's business. And we can do this. So when she goes, Luca, you need to get excited about Pumpkin Festival. It's like, okay, done. And that's it. It's all about all of us getting together. Now taking Ruth's lead and Let It Shine's lead and say, can we do this? Are we going to show up on October 20th with all our jack-o'-lanterns, and then the nation's going to watch us on October 31st, which is when they air Pumpkin Wars? Are they going to watch two really nice-looking cities and go, wow, that's pretty amazing. Look at what they did. And are they going to watch us go, wow, Keene just beat Highwood, Illinois with this and that and whatever? Or are they going to watch us go, oh, Keene had 15,000 pumpkins, Highwood had 30. That's not happening. I'm not going to let that happen. So every person I see on the street, I said, if you carved 1 pumpkin last year, you're carving 3 this year. If your business carved 20 pumpkins last year, well, up that by 20, and we'll find a way to get you more. That's the key. It's everyone has to chip in. And it's not only us, it's all of New Hampshire. And so I've already put out stuff to friends who are chefs in the Seacoast and Manchester, and I said, guys, we need your help. And they're putting out the word. So if New Hampshire could do this as a collective, help Keene, and we shine, and we let the Pumpkin Festival shine, this is just going to be a blast. It's a win-win all the way across the board. That's it, I'm done.
It has certainly rejuvenated any dormant interest in the Pumpkin Festival. I mean, everybody, the phone's ringing off the hook, 100 emails a day. People who used to love it again. And so it's happening. And there's, besides the world record, there's some major things, systems in place to make sure that we pull off the day.
Well, I guess, why don't we talk about those major systems? What types of things, other than grabbing Luca out of the restaurant and making him work hard, what other things have you decided to? What are the differences? I know one of the things that you brought on outside of HGTV, which is phenomenal because now we have national audience, the Ferris wheel. There's a little thing, but I thought
that's such old news, Randy.
I know.
Old.
No.
Ho, hum.
Welcome to Keene Old News Spin.
Wow. Ouch.
Ooh, man.
Well, that was my last.
And I promised,
It was nice to have you on today.
and I promised I wouldn't throw too many zingers at them today. That's off the table now. So
Okay, yeah, it's war. Pumpkin war.
We'll be polite for a couple more minutes here. Well, the old news and the Ferris wheel I thought was phenomenal when you first announced it like months back. So what else have you brought on since the Ferris wheel?
The Ferris wheel is still phenomenal.
Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
Because it's not only a new dimension physically. You get to go way up and look down and get a whole new perspective on the Pumpkin Festival, which we all need. We all get a little complacent and it's been there, done that. Oh no, you have never seen it from 45 feet in the air before. So there is a $5 charge for that, $3 for kids, and that is a revenue generator that we're hoping will be a stream of revenue from here on out. Always a Ferris wheel, always a huge view of, or some other view. I mean, maybe we get more creative spin line. But some other way to get up over the pumpkins and generate revenue and keep it happening and keep it fun and for new generations and new visitors. So that's one thing. But just back to the world record for a second. In order to welcome this whole HGTV process and what would have to be 36,000 pumpkins, we had to have a framework in place. We've been working night and day to get this system for Pumpkin Festival that actually works, and the welcome centers are a major part of that. At each major entry into downtown Keene, which is 7 now, it used to be 8, but Emerald Street is no longer considered a major entry point into downtown Keene. It's a minor entry point, it's a light entry point, but there are these ways to access downtown Keene, and when you do this year, you will be welcomed by a beautiful orange canopy tent, 15 by 15 orange tent, Harley Davidson orange, by the way, and staffed by the most charming people in the region, welcoming you. Welcome to Keene Pumpkin Festival. I see you brought your pumpkin. That line there. Oh, I see you forgot your pumpkin. Would you like to carve? Would you like to adopt? Would you like to go home? Would you like to give us a bigger donation? Whatever. But we would like to be sure that people feel welcome, that they know where things are. They can ask where the services are. There'll be an ATM there, which facilitates donations, facilitates tickets to the Ferris wheel and the Haunted Alley. So the other thing is there'll be a little price sheet. Ferris wheel ticket, $5 for adults, $3 for children. Haunted Alley, $5 for adults, $3 for children. Suggested donation, $5 per adult. So while you're buying your tickets, would you kick in another $5 per adult? That was a brainchild of Bob Sutherland. Do you know him? That it's easier when your wallet's already out and you already want it. You want to secure your ticket on that Ferris wheel to give $5. So that's the system that's in place, and we have 7 of them, and they're being staffed by some of the coolest people in Keene, and they should be quick. You should be able to get in. But if they're not quick, we have entertainment. We have.
Did you just raise your hand for the entertainment?
No, I didn't.
I was gonna say.
We have face painting. We have choral groups. We have all sorts of things just to welcome you, just in case there is a line when the buses unload. Sometimes there is a line, but it should be really fun. You should already feel like you're at the Pumpkin Festival right at the Welcome Center. In fact, in some towns like Highwood, Illinois, that could be a whole Pumpkin Festival, the Welcome Center. But then you get through there and it's organized Pumpkinville. There's a fabulous tower at Central Square, like always. And like always, here I go again, taking everything for granted. Like always. Who else has a fabulous pumpkin tower at Central Square? So it's a miracle, and the systems are in place to have people come in. Then, do you want to ask what the big exciting thing is that we were supposed to talk about today?
The drum roll, please.
The Pumpkin Dump Derby.
Oh, look at that pumpkin! Yeah, I don't know much about it.
Okay, why don't you
We're
hold?
going to now.
Why don't I read? You're going to announce it.
Why don't you hold the visual then? You can
All right,
you can be Vanna.
Hello.
There he is. Pumpkin Dump Derby.
Yeah.
Jessica Gagne-Cloutier at Keene State College. Keene State College has taken this Pumpkin Dump Derby concept. There are 12 teams signed up to cover territories of Keene. We have the territory map. Oh, you have the territory map.
We have the territory map. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this on the camera. There's trust us, it's all of downtown Keene. So it's broken up into quadrants, basically.
We took Central Square, divided it in like a pie, cut it in a pie, and then made territories equal to that size throughout the rest of Main Street. And they will be guarded from 8 o'clock on by these teams.
Nice.
The Pumpkin Dump Derby teams.
12 teams of up to 25 players earn $100 for your cause. Race winner gets $1,000 for your cause.
Which is a bargain.
That's pretty cool. and we get to clean up the town a little bit nicer, and we get people involved.
So this is mainly college students. They get some. Or Keene State helped set this up with you.
We put the call out to any teams. In fact, we would have loved to have the city council be a team. They would have been a killer team. Because they really want that street open. They want it clean. They want to save money. They want to save the burden on city staff. So the city council would have been a great team. But we do have a waiting list.
Well, I think we might not move quite as fast. I don't think we can count on the $100.
Slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady. But in the meantime, there are 12 teams. 2 of them are community teams, and 10 of them are Keene State teams. I'm not sure about the waiting list, but there is a waiting list.
That's incredible.
Speaking of Keene State, now we know, not to go negative at all. We know.
You better not.
Okay, we won't. we know part of the past is some of them weren't involved on the positive side of it. Do you think this has helped? And I've been following this, and I've been reading. I kind of brag about the Equinox, the college paper, because it's a phenomenal newspaper.
It is.
In following them, especially for the past year, they were really upset last year that it was some of their students, it was some non-students that acted up a little bit too much. And it really seems that the college is really making an effort to put a positive spin on Pumpkin Festival this year and saying, look, enough's enough. Have you seen that as you've been working with Keene State?
It's a whole new world at Keene State College. The interim president, Jay Kahn, is 100% behind his students and the Pumpkin Festival and trying to wholesomely involve them. The theory is the more you're participating in something and you care about it, and the tireder you are, the less trouble you could possibly even think about.
Into.
But I have never believed that Keene State College was the root of any evil relative to Pumpkin Festival. I believe it's an 18 to 25 age bracket that doesn't know how to drink as well as we learned how to drink. They just think it's okay to get arrested, or not. Of course, not all of them, but back when well, you're too young. Okay, you're all too young. Back when I was hanging out in bars in Milford, New Hampshire, we didn't pass out and go to the ER. We learned how to drink responsibly very early on. We didn't get arrested. It was uncool. And personally, I'd like to start a "It's uncool to get arrested at Pumpkin Festival" campaign again. It is uncool. Come on, people.
I love that. We should get shirts.
Learn
It's uncool to
how
get arrested.
learn how to hold your alcohol. Come on.
What's great is actually I've been in touch with Keene State. And one of the things that I was brought on board is, again, to get the word out there that we need pumpkins, right? We need jack-o'-lanterns now. And getting in touch with, we did a rally at Wheelock School just the other day.
I wish I were there.
Which was a blast, and we'll have some video of that too. But it was fun to see the kids get excited. You tell, hey, how many of you seen HGTV? The kids are going crazy because all their moms and dads watch it, right? And then how many people want to break the record? Do we want Highwood to win? No. And then it's a great competition. It's great for the kids to be in that mindset. I mean, I love when kids compete. I mean, it's a big thing. But I also got in touch with Keene State College, and I basically said to them, you're getting this many pumpkins. How do we get you to do another 1,000 or another 2,000? Where do we need to go? And they're all for it. I mean, I have a meeting actually after the show. It's about how many more can we get out of there. And they are gung-ho about this, and they're like, we're going to help. We're going to do whatever it takes. And it's great. I mean, you get kids like that at the school who are all about the community too. And it's nice to see them get involved. It's incredible.
Keene State is uniquely positioned to sustain the future of the Pumpkin Festival.
Well, I think, and you mentioned it, and Dave and I mentioned it for when we pushed for J-Con. We kind of take credit for it because we were pushing for it before.
It was our show.
You did.
We talked about it for weeks before he had actually announced that he got it. So yeah, we do take credit for Jay getting the position. But we did mention, I mean, sometimes timing is everything, and have the local guy. Nothing against people when they come in from out of town, but it takes them like just a couple years just to get up to where things are. And I think having Jay come in and being a Keene guy. I mean, now it's not only personal for your college; it's personal for you because you're from the area, And I see a whole different attitude, she college that let's have fun and make this work.
And this person, Jessica Gagne-Cloutier, she's a hero. She she was at a community service position at a college in North Carolina, and it was her job to raise volunteers for a pirate fest.
Nice.
You would like a pirate fest.
Arr.
400 volunteers.
I want a patch. Can
Basically,
I wear a patch?
that was a
I want to wear a patch. No.
that was a
I didn't want to wear one anyway.
town gown situation too. But that college staffed the Pirate Fest, so she's looking at me like, why doesn't Keene State College staff the Pumpkin Fest? And I say, hey,
Wow.
there's an idea. So it was a whole new world from last year, and she's taken it. And she's, on October 2nd, she announced that the Pumpkin Dump Derby teams were full with a waiting list.
That's excellent.
One of
that is
the
good.
Unbelievable.
Another cool thing I want to talk about real quick is the amount of little carving groups that'll pop up between Wednesday and Friday, and we're starting to generate the interest in that. And one of them starts at my place, and on Wednesday night or Thursday and Friday night after our market's closed, we're going to actually have it available for people to come in, and if they want to donate for a pumpkin that's already been hollowed out, we all know that's the worst part about carving, right?
The guts.
It's cleaning. Well,
The guts.
I've acquired 500 pumpkins, and we're going to gut them all. And if you want to come in with your kids and carve there, come on in. We'll let you carve. There's space. And then we'll gut it for you. We'll hand it to you. Donate a little bit to the cause. Donate to Let It Shine, and see where that goes, and see how we can help out getting 500 downtown right in that area already ready for Saturday morning. And that's the key, because 2 years ago, I did maybe 40 pumpkins. We wrote out our name. I did Luca's Mediterranean Cafe, 26 pumpkins, because I did an apostrophe. And then the market at Luca's, 17 pumpkins with the apostrophe. So whatever that comes to. And then we did, the kids had some random pumpkins. So let's say we had 50 or 60 in front of the place altogether. We're going for 500 this year. That's what I'm trying to say to everybody that's listening, is that, if you did 20 last year, do 40 this year. I went from 20 to, and Ruth, I told you this, and I will admit it on air, I did 0 last year. I didn't carve one pumpkin. And I'm not proud of it, but I'm admitting it.
I'm a forgiving person.
I'm admitting it right now, to the point that I went from 0 to 500. Okay? So what I'm asking, and no one needs to do that kind of button jump.
Well, you
but
know, the first thing in overcoming problems,
It's admitting it, yeah.
that you have an
trust me,
issue.
your show's not big enough or
And,
long enough for me to admit all my problems. So we'll just stick to the pumpkins right
We
here.
have acceptance, and, we had denial, then
Yeah.
now we have acceptance, and now recovery. We hope.
But look at what you said is really what's happened over the past few years. It's complacency among all of us. We'll plead guilty
Yeah.
of it too. Sometimes the negative always the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right.
The negative was getting all the press, and it was, and this is where I credit Ruth to bringing back the excitement and the energy. It was almost becoming, here comes Pumpkin Fest, and you admitted you did 0 pumpkins. I think I did 1, where years ago we would carve 4 or 5.
Right.
And I think that whole positive energy level is coming back again. In the HDTV, and Ruth, I have to absolutely give you the credit, because I follow this. I've been following it online, and I'll send her little emails when I read
I do
things.
love those.
And
It's very nice to get encouraging emails because we get other emails.
And I remember I read one email as this year was going on, and I could just read the tone in your comment. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. This is like, it was like, I remember that comment where you're like, I don't know if I can pull this one off this time. And then a week later, you were re-energized again.
This is not an easy job. I mean,
No.
when Center Stage gave up, they gave up because they were really smart. There's
There's a reason for that.
There are, you go up to the plate with 2 strikes and it's a hard job. So, and one of the reasons I was most discouraged, which I am really pleased to tell you there's a turnabout on, was the state of New Hampshire. We were asked to find out who benefits the most from this festival and get them to pony up. And I know the state of New Hampshire is one of the major beneficiaries of Keene Pumpkin Festival because of room and meals tax being over $250,000 every October. We give that to the state and say, here, New Hampshire. And they give us
Nothing.
exactly. So I stood up at a thing where the governor was speaking and said, we have this program in Keene. I didn't tell him what it was. I said, it's a program that gives you $250,000, and in exchange, you give me a bill for $10,000 for state troopers. We need to fix that. So he gave me a cell phone number, and I called him in December, and then we met with the officials in January, and and that's when I get discouraged, when you meet with officials.
Yeah.
No, right? And then, I don't know. So that was a give up day. And then there was the day when I said, wait a minute, this is wrong. This is just plain wrong. And I got the right state trooper. He's a colonel. And then he referred me to a Major Conti, who actually listened and said, you know what, we're doing that for some of the other big things in New Hampshire, like NASCAR and the bike race. We should be able to figure something out. So then I say, well, listen, whatever you do, don't get them mad at us so they don't want to come and help with the security, because safety is the absolute most important thing about Pumpkin Festival. So months went by, and I'm in a city meeting, and my police friend says, the state troopers are, we may not get enough state troopers because somebody, and that was the day I just wanted to give up, is when trying to do something good turned into something bad. But then this Maslin, I don't know his rank, but someone named Maslin in our local state trooper sat down and did the calculations and the math and figured out how you could have state troopers during their regular hours versus overtime versus bringing them from other places. And the bottom line is I got a call yesterday that the state of New Hampshire is saving us $4,000. That's
awesome.
One of our major donations, $4,000.
An in-kind donation for security, basically.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes, exactly. But the beautiful thing, you guys, is it isn't costing anyone anything except
Right.
maybe some state trooper bonus overtime money. But I don't think they'll mind. They'll be part of a world record, and on TV it'll be great. $4,000. And the other thing the state is helping with is some equipment that we usually have to rent, and they're making it available. It's a $2,000 price tag. So we went from state of New Hampshire 0 to state of New Hampshire $6,000. And those are the days that make my spirits soar and go from no to we found a way to get a $6,000 gift.
I think the coolest thing about this whole thing, if you didn't bring it back last year, we wouldn't be at this position this year, which was really exciting. And what's exciting about this too, and you know, I see it from a different angle. When we first talked, or somewhere in the, she said, "Well, what about this one?" I said, "No, Ruth, I don't deal with logistics or math, or no details or math. This is what I am, and it's a miracle that I'm still in business because I really don't deal with details. My job is to make people happy and get excited about stuff. That's what I do.
We
And
need
luckily-
that kind of people in the world, don't we?
Oh yeah.
And then of course I
don't.
married the perfect woman who takes care of details, or else I'd be in trouble.
Support staff is really, really, really important.
But what happens now is now we have the opportunity as a city, and we always talked about this. I've talked about this since I got here. We have an opportunity as a city to really, and I'm going to borrow it from Pumpkin Fest, but let it shine. I mean, we're going to let the United States of America know what an amazing city Keene is. They're not going to all come here and live, but they might come here and drive through next time they're going up, and they are going to spend money, and they're going to go to a local restaurant or go to a local shop and head down Main Street and go, "Did you realize how beautiful this town is?" And we get that national exposure because of what Let It Shine did and getting us to this point. And of course, all the other Pumpkin Fests that led up to this. But if it went away last year and they didn't put the effort into this year, we wouldn't have this opportunity. And it's a great opportunity for all the businesses, all the people, and the city of Keene.
You know, it's amazing how, and the energy is coming back. And I tell the story before. It was like 5 years ago when I was in Australia. I was 8,000 miles away, and I just happened to have a shirt on that said Keene, New Hampshire on it. And I was in a little pub trying to find some Australian beer, which wasn't hard to do. And somebody yelled from across the room, "Keene, New Hampshire, Pumpkin Fest." And this was 8,000 miles away. And what it was, he was a firefighter from Chicago who happened to be over in Australia because they had a big firefighting competition going on. Well, his brother is a firefighter in Boston. So he had gone to Boston and then come to Keene. But and then I get on the airline to come home and I'm reading one of the airline magazines. Boom, there it is. Pumpkin Festival, Keene, New Hampshire, on Qantas, and I'm reading it, and it just
Do you
shows.
know the
shows
value
how
of that
global.
placement? You know how every time I go in front of city council, I talk about public relations as a profession? The cost of that exposure, that's what public relations firms do. They try all year long to get you one little picture in one big magazine. And we have Martha Stewart Living calling and asking for photographs. And I get back to them in a day or two. When HGTV wanted to do this show, it wasn't like we were TV, what's the polite word? I shouldn't.
Literate?
It wasn't like I was like, "Oh, we've got to get these guys." It was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, call us when you're serious."
Yeah.
We played very hard to get because it's a huge amount of time. Doing a good job hosting a television production is a huge imposition, not only on a city and all the logistics of making that okay, but our little organization, our action team, man, we went outside immediately to get help, hospitality help with Dr. Lisa Zengel. She's in charge of making sure that they feel like we're civilized, little gift basket and a dinner arrangement or whatever. And then this guy was part of that original hospitality. How do we host a national television show and not embarrass ourselves? And that's when we found out there was Mr.
You called Luca?
Mr. Can Do was on speakerphone coming to the speaker saying, "This is what we need to do."
Yeah, I had to learn to be quiet. I thought I was on mute. I don't know.
No, that's where it wasn't in the street. I was listening to on speaker, and I said,
That's kind of scary when you're able to get that
This is
off.
the guy that could pull off the supercharge that you need to, we're the trudgers. We're going to make the Pumpkin Festival happen. And somebody has to come in and say, "People, this is a major opportunity this year. Let us please not embarrass ourselves.
Oh, boy.
Let us win. Let us sing. Let it shine." So.
And that's the thing. That's the biggest thing I go to everybody. I said, "Do you really want to lose?" That's the first thing I said. Do you
I'm
really
a really bad loser.
And that's the way you look at it. Is
World's worst
yes,
loser.
Yes, we can lose. Okay, but if we didn't try, then what are we teaching anybody? That's what it's all about. We open businesses because we're trying to succeed. We do all this because we try. So we need to try. So if you try and we lose, I will be okay. If we don't try and we lose, It's
You
not
know what
gonna
you
be
guys are
good.
doing almost reminds me of, and you talked about Keene, Luca, the Swamp Bats and Kevin Watterson.
They're our best buddies.
And you look
We
at and most people just take it for granted. Swamp Bats going to be a good team every year.
Right.
It's going to be a phenomenal season. It's going to be fun. The alumni feel it's going to be family.
Yep.
And almost like with Pumpkin Festival, people assume, but people like Kevin Watterson and yourselves realize it ain't easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
But you know, in what you're doing here, like I said, it kind of reminds me of what Kevin does every year with Swamp Bats. And you even saw Concord, New Hampshire had a team, and they were rah rah rah. And after about 4 years, they get tired of it, and they just kind of let it go. Kind of like Pumpkin Festival, get really going, and like you said, they get tired.
Let me tell you about
They
the
get
Swamp
tired.
Bats and Pumpkin Festival because I recognize the beauty of them, just like you just described. It is a treasure on a summer night to go out there. Their cheeseburgers are out of this world. Baseball is great, the crack of the bat and real grass, and it's all awesome. So they have a food concession on Railroad Square that I consider that a fixture of Pumpkin Festival.
Yep.
And they have a volunteer base that is outstanding. So last year they did Railroad Square, and this year they're really doing Railroad Square. They're taking over Railroad Square, the Welcome Center there, which is a little bit, it's down Railroad Street. They're positioned right where all the barriers are, all the security barriers. So the Swamp Bats are in charge of that Welcome Center. They're in charge of Railroad Square. They're in charge of the merchandise or souvenir station on Railroad Square. And what they've done is, well, they're just amazing. I can't say enough about Swamp Bats. I love them. They are feeding all the volunteers their excellent cheeseburgers for free. All the police get a voucher. All the volunteers get a voucher. But the really, really cool thing, which we really need to tell people about, is this community carving table that they're setting up. It's pretty much the length of Railroad Square. So that this year it's not look at our pumpkins, it's carve a pumpkin on Railroad Square all day Friday, all day Saturday. And the pumpkins will be there. They'll be displayed there. Once we hit 3,000, we have to go to another territory, another zone, which is another good segue. We need to warn people about the Guinness rules. We have 8 world records, but all the rules are different now. They're different and they're nasty, and I pretty much told them that they were making a mockery of this process. But okay, Guinness rules.
Tell people how you feel. Ruth.
Yeah, just don't hold back.
Yeah, that's what's the best part
Stop
about this
holding
show.
that all in. It's so good for you.
No, really, we're on TV. Go ahead. Tell us how you really feel.
Well, here's Highwood's lesson last year. They had 31,000 pumpkins, and they do not have a Guinness World Record because they didn't dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So we brought the specialist of Guinness World Records, Nancy Sporborg. She's been on that Let It Shine team from the beginning, but she knows how to get world records. She knows how icky-picky the rules are. And here's the thing. It's going to require a different system of counting because, and everyone don't get mad and don't say bad words, they want us to subtract every pumpkin that's not lit from the count over a 5-minute judging period.
Really?
So we're going to have 36,000 pumpkins out there, and we're going to have to tell them how many are not lit, and we're going to have to prove that our numbers are accurate. That's when I said, I'm talking to him on speakerphone. You're making a mockery out of this. Because if it's raining, I mean, how do you do that? What if the candle is like really little?
Or
like
one gust of wind
one
into
gust
the tower.
of wind. So we were pretty defeated. That was another defeated day. That was another day. But Nancy Sporborg, God bless her, she said, wait, what if we, and here's the tentative plan, which is going to be refined, but those same zones, those same 12 zones, and there will be like 14 zones. Luca has to have a zone all his own.
Luca's in his own zone.
Yeah, I've been in my own zone for years.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem.
What we think we're going to do, and I'd love to have you help us get the word out about this after this when it becomes nailed down, what I think we're going to do is have to have an accurate count of the pumpkins at all times. So we fill each zone. We fill each quarter of Railroad Square. We fill all of Railroad Square knowing that we're going to try to have X amount of pumpkins there, and we're going to have a count there, and we're going to try not to have any more pumpkins added there. We're going to be working on the next zone. So every welcome center diverts their pumpkins to the next zone, and And so in theory, you would know on Friday, we have this number of pumpkins on Central Square, we have this number on Railroad Square, we have this number in zone.
Luca.
Luca's zone.
Luca.
I was thinking it would be really, we have some very, instead of calling them zone 1, 2, and 3, I thought it would be really nice to call them after the major supporters in that area, so there could be the good fortune zone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it would be really nice. And then we would also know which zone it was. Geographically, we'd know where it was. But so then there'd be a monitor, or what would we call that person? We need a fancy name. The Guinness name is adjudicator.
There you go.
Adjudicator. That we are going to have an adjudicator here, and he's a real hard driving man. He said no, no, no. He let us have the lids off the pumpkins. That was one of
How
his
about if
rules.
we give the guy from Guinness a couple of pints of Guinness?
I was going to say.
Huh?
Yeah.
We'll relax him a little bit before he starts.
We did have to give him a complimentary hotel room, and the Marriott came up with that. Thank you, Courtyard Marriott and Alex Bates. But
Yeah, hopefully, I know they're pretty packed too, like all hotels are. Hopefully, they did one of those, clean out the janitor's closet, and, move the mops over
I think
a little bit.
some guests coming to Keene are going to be surprised at who's sleeping in the bed next to them. What's he doing here?
as of yesterday, there were still hotel rooms available in Keene.
Really?
Jim Narkowitz at Days Inn did a survey, and there were still rooms. Yeah, or the day before maybe, but just recently, because we have
I
to
think
keep
people
up with
just
that.
assume that they're all
They're
full.
all full.
Just like the Colonial, everybody assumes that the Colonial is sold out at every show, and
Yeah.
pretty much you should always try to get a ticket at the Colonial if you really want one.
It's been quite a. I've found it really interesting just coming into the side
There's
end.
a lot
and
of detail, isn't
and
there?
seeing all the details, and you know there are. I mean, there's no way. And from when Nancy started this, what now, 21 years ago?
This
And
is the 22nd year.
And what they've done to
Back when
do,
Luca, back when you and I were just teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was a
10
lot
years
older than you, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm older now. I passed you. So
Back then we
I
were-
think we're the same age, actually.
Wow.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are.
So, but with,
29.
Well,
Not bad.
So you want to tell them about that pumpkin promenade?
Well, I want
Pumpkin
to.
promenade.
I just here's the segue. As people in charge of a really popular event that everybody thinks is their own personal holiday, Pumpkin Festival. Last year we disappointed this community evidently by not having a special community night because we heard about it all year long. That we didn't care about what the local. Well, that's anything but the truth. We recognize that the local community is hosting the world. And that's like throwing a great big New Year's Eve party. Your house gets messy and you're inconvenienced and you're tired and whatever. So we want the local community to know that they're everything. We love what Keene steps up to do that day. So the idea, this came from Steve Lindsay, believe it or not. He thought pumpkins in windows.
Steve had a good idea. Wow.
He is a good idea every
Steve,
once in a while.
You got one. It happens.
Oh, jeez.
We like Steve.
He's an idea person.
Yeah, he is.
Lots
He is.
of ideas, and
He
I
has
want him to
lots
know
of
that
ideas.
this started with our outreach sessions at Keene Public Library, where we asked people what they wanted from the new Generation Pumpkin Festival, and Steve came and said, "Why can't you put masterpiece pumpkins in the downtown windows?" And the first year I was like, "That is not on my priority list, buddy." And then Mike Haynes, who's our board chair, so my boss, said, "Why can't we put really artistic pumpkins in downtown windows?" And then someone made it click that would be new for our community. We would not have experienced that. We could not be jaded about that. We love Art Walk in the spring. So to have masterpiece pumpkins showcased in downtown windows on Friday when it's quieter would be a gift to the community, and that's what's happening thanks to Angela Criswell at Price Chopper.
Nice.
She's taken this project on, and the most gratifying thing of all, no matter how tired we get, I remind myself that every downtown establishment that we asked, could we put a masterpiece pumpkin in your window? Every single one said yes. How many? Yes,
Nice.
how many? Yes, how many?
So the Friday night, kind of going back to where it was, it's a little simpler because you don't have to close down the streets, so you don't need the extra security.
Right.
It's kind of like you said, an October art walk, but the art is the pumpkins in the windows. And so basically you just kind of letting the merchants take care of it. And of course, if you're a downtown merchant, come on in.
Please come in. A couple of downtown merchants have started another cool initiative. You can log in your pumpkin in our shop. Hannah Grimes is doing that, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the other place, but they're saying, just log in here. Well, that would solve a lot of problems. If everybody accepted logins, then that would cut down on staffing at the welcome centers considerably in the future. Anyway, new ideas percolate up, and sometimes we don't hear them right away because we're tired, and it's like being in city council. It's like you get hammered. It's like being on city council without any of the prestige or glory.
Prestige and
Like-
glory.
There's lots of that on city council.
Prestige. Yeah.
Or power. I have no power, but I get these calls saying, "What did you do that? Why did you do that? And can't you fix that? And I want people to be able to turn onto Marlborough Street and park in my parking lot. And why can't you fix that?" And
Well, you obviously didn't hear Cynthia Georgina's show last Saturday because it was just brutal.
really?
Usually it's mellow and people, it was this and that, and I had to make a list this long. I've been meeting with the city manager to get all the questions answered. So, I love you, Cynthia. I'm not doing the show again.
Thanks for the warning. We're supposed to do
It's
it.
kind
We're
of true.
supposed
It's
to do
like,
it next
what
Saturday.
have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
How does it affect me? And a lot of people like that.
That leads to a really cool thing that I'd love to talk about if you
Another
let me.
segue. We got 16
Well,
minutes to go.
let me point out one thing while he's got the camera in the right place. I just want to say, last year we were down there, and Randy and I were down there, and I was absolutely amazed with how quickly everything was cleaned up. And there was, a little comment about people throwing pumpkins at each other or whatever, but big difference. And now you're taking that to a whole new level this year with a competition to do it. I think that's phenomenal. It makes me think of Tom Sawyer, who made painting the fence. We're going to make painting the fence fun, so I don't have to do it. But it worked out really nice last year, and I can't wait to see how good it works out this year.
Thank you. That is exactly what I believe that's the solution to problems. A little while ago you said you have to identify the problem, but then it's like Tai Chi.
He was talking about me, though.
You take whatever. We all have problems. You take the negative energy and you figure out how to convert it into something positive. And
Absolutely.
That's exactly okay. So the worst problem facing the Pumpkin Festival was cleaning up expeditiously, so the Sentinel couldn't hit us 2 days later with how messy it was when it was already clean by the time they published that.
Ruth, I'm going to jump into that. In the Sentinel, the biggest mess last year was the Sentinels, because they drop off 3 stacks of Sentinels like in every block. Look, guys, people from Connecticut really aren't going to pick up and read the Sentinel. So what happened was the winds come along, whatever. Downtown Keene, the pumpkins were gone, but there were Sentinels everywhere. Keep the Sentinels at the Sentinel, please. Thank you. Okay.
Am I allowed to disagree with you on air?
No.
Because I agree with the first
almost a
3/4
requirement.
of that.
Three-quarters? Okay.
Yeah,
Then we'll just stop there and go to the next thing then.
but the people from Connecticut do love the pull-out pictures of the Pumpkin Festival. But you can't put newspapers on the ground and then attack volunteers for littering.
Right.
So I have...
They were everywhere at the end of the Pumpkin Festival.
and they were way harder to clean up than pumpkins.
They get wet. Wet newspaper downtown is gross.
Yeah, old lady picking them up.
Yeah.
I know, it's very, very, very hard, and I'm still mad at them about that. But here's the thing I'd love to segue to, is that people need to know that they're losing coverage of the Pumpkin Festival. Cheshire TV is not planning to cover the Pumpkin Festival this year. It's like an NFL blackout. Everybody who's used to staying home and watching it, you're going to have to come down and experience it yourself. But I would like to, because I just don't ever take no well. No, we're not able to do that. Wait a minute. There's can't do and there's can do. And the only thing we understand is can do. If we want coverage of things like the Pumpkin Festival, if we want Cheshire TV, we need to support Cheshire TV. We need to let these people know that we appreciate what you guys do. Every week you put on a show for them that explains issues of the city. How many thank yous do you get?
Usually it's more of a... it's usually more of when you go grocery shopping.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
you know how many people are watching by how long it takes you to get in and out of your grocery
Yeah,
store.
to get it-
So my wife won't even go grocery shopping with me anymore, because I'll grab the cart and I go to Hannaford's, and Joe, who works here, he's the first one that catches me
Yep.
at the door. Randy, you got to do this. And then you get into the produce. And if I make it through produce, there's only 1 or 2 comments. I know a lot of people didn't watch it that week. But usually, on a shopping experience, it'll usually be about 10 or 12 people.
Yeah.
Every time we go shopping, we'll stop and talk about the show. So people do definitely watch.
And do they say thank you for doing it? We really appreciate you guys.
Some do. Most
Looking
of-
into this stuff and
Most
explaining
of
it
them
to us.
say it based on they want to talk about a topic that you talked
Right.
about.
They want to go over something that we've discussed. I
Yeah.
get that all the
It's
time.
usually we saw the
So-
show and you said this and what do you mean by that, or but this is my opinion of that
So
particular issue.
you recognize that you're a precious resource in this community.
Well, Dave's
That's
always
what-
we always
you know.
recognize each other as precious. I call Dave precious all the time. Right, precious?
Isn't that a different show?
Yeah. Well,
You
let's
guys-
not start.
You guys are producers, right? That's what your
producer.
your technical.
I'm just a talent.
Well, whatever. You are, in Cheshire TV speak, you are producers who are willing to sign up, make the commitment, put on the show, and Cheshire TV
Yes.
is here working hard filming you.
Yes.
And who is thanking those people? And who is sending them donations to keep their work going?
They set up a studio for us, set up the cameras for us, and you have to have somebody in here, doing the control room. So.
Yeah, remember they do that, how many times a day? Because the next show tapes, they got to change all of this.
When we're out of here, like in 10 minutes, they're immediately changing over this whole room to get.
There's
set up
this
for
hero
next
in the
person.
back room named Ernie.
The complete
That's
staff,
back there
Ernie.
working like crazy to do these camera switches. And have we thanked Ernie lately?
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Ernie.
I mean, your viewers. Have your viewers thanked Cheshire TV? Have they let them know how important this resource is? Because we have a blackout now. It's the same deal as the Pumpkin Festival dying last year. Somebody needs to step up and bring Cheshire TV to the Pumpkin Festival. Daytime I could live without because I think locals can come down and see the festival, but when it gets really crowded, we want that live coverage of the count. We're going to get a world record this year.
No doubt about it.
And there's going to be no live coverage? Come on, people. Are we can't do or can do? Can we fix this? Can we make this happen? Is it money? Is it support? Is it resources? I bet you guys could fix this.
That's a good way to throw
Well, not
that
in the
back on
next
that.
9 minutes, but certainly I didn't know that we weren't going to do it. And if you look at the last year, how good it was, and I'll disagree a little in that I think it should go all day because the way they had the crane set up and you could see the crowds, I thought it was just outstanding the way
Dave
they
and
did
I
it
have
last
already
year.
we've already volunteered our time. I talked to Lee, and I know a lot of people that normally volunteered for it just this year just didn't want to do it. They probably want to just enjoy it, rather than do it. Dave and I have volunteered our time for whatever they want.
How about some new people? How about some new people that have always wanted to help?
I guess you're gonna have to talk to Lee.
I say just strap cameras to both of their heads and let them walk around.
Give us those,
Yeah, those little go cams.
Little helmet cams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Ernie could edit it in later, and I think you'd look great with those helmet cams.
well, you're never going to see me because it's up here. So
If we lose Cheshire TV coverage this year, we will have suffered a big loss. We will have national coverage on HGTV. I suppose that's almost as good. But I
Not
would
really.
like Cheshire TV to know how much this community appreciates the live coverage, the ongoing programming, everything that Cheshire TV does. And it's time somebody, squawked and said, hey, let's appreciate Cheshire TV. Let's appreciate Keene Pumpkin Festival. Let's appreciate volunteers that step up at the last minute to exhaust themselves. Let's make this happen, people.
And all you're really asking for people this year is to step up. Like you said, if you carved one pumpkin, do 3 this year. That's we're not asking the community out there to go overboard. It's like, just carve a couple extra pumpkins.
I made phone calls to all my friends that are in the New England area too. I said, if you could get down here on Friday, I'll hold on to your pumpkins for Saturday. The check-in thing. That's what we're ending up being. I have 500 pumpkins committed in my place. I've talked to enough people that hopefully we're going to be around 800 by the time we're done, that they're bringing them just to our area. And that's what I have a lady from outside of Connecticut. She said, I'm going to bring up like 20 or 30 because I started telling all my friends around. That's it. Tell your friends. to
We
do a
love
couple of them.
Connecticut.
And-
Love.
And that's it. You do your share. Someone says they don't want to carve. Every once in a while, I get someone that says they don't want to carve. I said, I'm going to carve one in your honor. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to carve one for you. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You don't have to like it. I'll take care of it. But if you could get one person to do one more, it'll be beautiful.
Speaking of carving, you had mentioned on Railroad Square they're going to have the carving tables.
Community
this year.
carving table. Jim Vitus custom designs.
Are they supplying like certain tools to carve them with?
These are the swamp bats. Do the swamp bats do things right?
Oh, okay. So they're going to be okay.
They've got it. But you can bring your own carving tools too. We like the little safe ones.
Oh, that's the part that I was going to bring up. Is the carving tent going to be right next to the fire department's emergency tent? Yeah. I mean, carving pumpkins can be pretty interesting sometimes.
Hey, we have a new guy that came forward at Keene Street Fair. This fellow that invented these little pumpkin carving kits and scoopers, and we're selling his scoopers at all of our souvenir stations on Saturday in exchange for 30 of them for all the carving stations. And they're really high quality crafts, but hey, you know what? Another really important message is no matter how many pumpkins he gets carved and no matter how many people step up to do their best this year, we can't win without candles.
True, yeah.
A little silence after that one.
Well, yeah, what do we do about that?
We're in a little trouble. Nancy Sporberg says to me, wherever you go, remind people of candles. So New Hampshire Public Radio gave us $1,000 in free messages. And it says, does it say don't come to Keene without your pumpkin and your candle?
I don't know.
It says, wait, we wrote this. At our first meeting, we wrote this. Come to Keene, New Hampshire, be part of history, bring your pumpkin and your candle. Essentially, that was it. It was worded a little better, I hope.
I already have all my votives.
You need candles.
You need them.
Now, the world record, when you went back and you said, going back a little bit here, how they come in and it has to be lit at the time. Could the record say the most carved jack-o'-lanterns in one spot and leave the word lighted out?
Well, I love the way you find the loopholes, Randy.
I should be the counter.
Oh gosh, scare me.
95,000.
I need a counter. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 35,000. We win. Thank you.
I lost my train of thought because I just went down four.
The prior Pumpkin Fest records were all lit jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, and we have Nancy Sporborg to blame for this. The Guinness record, she created this category. She talked them into the category in 19 whatever it was, and it was not lit jack-o'-lanterns. She thought, Nancy wants things the biggest and the best. She wants them lit, so it's all her fault. We're working. I said back on track here to help us, but she's trying to figure out if you can have them with electric lights and/or those battery lights, because the way these Guinness rules are, no one's ever going to try this record again with wax candles and lights. They're going to go right to something that's 100% dependable, like a battery-powered little votive, and the magic will be compromised. Yeah. So that's why I get really mad at rules that mess up the magic.
Right.
So Nancy's negotiating with them, but our tower is lit with electric lights, and so is Highwoods.
Oh yeah, one gust of wind on the tower and it's over. Yeah.
Right.
I remember the early years because I volunteered in early year, and man, that was brutal because you'd take an hour going down one row, and then that wind would come out of the west, and gone.
That
is
is
my little Bic lighter.
You just summarized the heartbreak of Pumpkin Festival.
Yep.
That's why there's burnout. There's lots of parts of Pumpkin Festival that feel just like that. But bottom line, you got to go back and start lighting them again.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever give up.
Don't give up. Just keep that lighter going.
Right.
Either that or just have one person for every 10 pumpkins with their lighter and just be waiting.
Blowtorch works too.
Well, what I think is going to, the way I'm picturing it right now, and we need community input about this. If there's people out there who understand the science of fire and lighting pumpkins and rain, because, rain's not stopping him from getting to the world record, leading us to the world record, right? So if someone has some ideas, we need to hear them. That rain or shine, wind or, whatever the Pony Express said.
Exactly.
We are not giving up. We're going to do our best on national television.
Now, we got only about 2 minutes left. There's a couple other things did I hear, like pumpkin basketball or something? Did I hear that? I found that interesting. I know we did pumpkin bowling last year.
I thought you were going to pull out a basketball.
And now we're going to have pumpkin basketball?
They look alike. Hold on, I'll
Okay,
hold on.
I was an art major. I am a graphic designer and an artist. And if you were going to draw these two things, you draw them very, very similarly. They are orange orbs. And they're about the same season. You try out for a basketball team in October. I am a has-been basketball player, so I have always wanted to incorporate. We need more activities for kids to do once they're overstimulated by the jack-o'-lanterns. They need some major muscle activities, and basketball is perfect. So at Eagle Court, that will be basketball court. There will be 2 hoops, portable hoops, thank you. And Gabe Shakur, our local basketball trickster. Does everyone know Gabe's incredible basketball abilities? He's
Nope, I guess we're going to find out.
He's a junior at Waldorf School in Keene. He's the son of the family that owns the Keene Shopper.
Right.
And he has basketball talent like you've never seen at trick shots. And he's a rapper. So he has this basketball rap thing. You can see it on YouTube, or you can see it at Keene Pumpkin Festival on Saturday, October 20th. And he will be using these, not these, and they'll be bigger. We also have souvenirs of these that say that are Jack's Face, Keene Pumpkin Festival, and you can buy one of these. That's part of our, keep the Pumpkin Festival in the black and take home something that reminds you of how incredibly fun Keene is all year long. So that's at Eagle Court. And we know it's not paved. We're working around that thanks to Larry Crowder. He's watching out that there will be a court.
Excellent.
There's a race at 8:30 too, Randy.
8:30 in the morning? Yeah, I guess I'll have to get up early that day.
That
You're going to be in the race?
it's
Yeah,
it's
right.
a 1 mile race, and this is an
What happened?
amazing.
No, you know what? This is kind of. We only get 20 seconds left anyhow. Okay, we only get 15 seconds left. Wasn't that?
Oh, and don't forget the haunted alley. The haunted
This is
alley.
a segue to the haunted alley. Look at
This
this.
show's going to run for 2 weeks because we didn't pay a power bill anyhow. There's some
Let it shine, baby.
scheduling
Let it
changes.
shine.
2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Always got ready.
That was the